All right. We are letting our classrooms in. Hello, everybody. I see some classrooms starting to pop up on your screen. Welcome, welcome, everybody.
Hey.
Let me make a quick adjustment here. All right, so we have got our classrooms joining us today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our grand finale video call with Windsurf. I'm so happy that you could join us today. This is a very special milestone. We have completed our circumnavigation of the Caribbean alongside our friends aboard Windsurf, and we're doing a final video call with them as they close the loop. And we have some very, very special guests too, who are going to be joining us in just a minute. I wanted to get started by first giving sort of an overview of where we've been, and then giving each of the classrooms who are with us today a chance to say hi. So we are just concluding a 56-day circumnavigation of the Caribbean with Windsurf. For the last 8 weeks, we have been conducting this virtual exchange together with the ship and with special guests from the ship following their adventures all around the Caribbean. And as a group, we are now more than 780 students in 40 classrooms across the US. So we've been connecting with a lot of people and sharing this incredible adventure with so many classrooms, and it's been just a tremendous ride. I have today a little bit of a visual to start my presentation here, and I'm going to use my pen as an example just to show you where we've come in 8 weeks. We started our 8-week virtual exchange up here in St. Martin, and we worked our way down the islands. Who can forget the Dominica and Montserrat and the beautiful natural environments of those volcanic islands. I can still smell the nutmeg from afar from Grenada when we stopped there and talked about food. We were down in St. Lucia, another beautiful mountainous island, and talked about the local community in Bequia. More recently, the Windsurf has come along the bottom of South America, and has visited Cartagena and Colombia. Our most recent field note about traditions focuses on the coffee culture in Cartagena, and also up here, my map's kind of small, but I think this is right about where Belize is, the Mayan traditions and the opportunity to visit some Mayan ruins outside of Belize City. The ship has worked its way up the coast of Mexico to the Yucatan Peninsula, and is currently, and I will have Lorena confirm this as we switch things over to her, en route between the Dominican Republic and the British Virgin Islands on its way back to St. Martin, our starting point. So there's a visual of our entire circumnavigation of the Caribbean, and a fun reminder of some of the great moments we had along the way. Before I turn things over to Lorena and our special guests aboard Windsurf, I would like to give some of our classrooms who are joining us today a chance to say hi. Right now, all the classrooms are muted, just so we don't have a lot of conflicting background noise. But I will start with, why don't we start with Miss Scott's class in Kentucky. I'm going to unmute you real quick. I'll give you a chance to say hi. Go ahead.
Everyone say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Scott's class. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, I am going to mute you again. Let's say hi to Miss Bellows' class. Hi, Miss Bellows' class.
You're unmuted.
Hey, there they are. Hey guys, glad you could join us. All right, we have, it looks like Miss James's class. Hi, Miss James's class. How you doing today?
Hey.
Oh,
Good.
Awesome, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And I think Ms. Capozzi, I'm not sure if you're at your camera or not, but I know we have a lot of eager students in New Jersey with Ms. Capozzi who are who are also following our call today and have been very active participants in this entire virtual exchange. So hi to Miss Capose's class in New Jersey. What a great crew we have today. I don't want to take up any more time before we turn things over to our onboard host, Lorena, who can tell us where the ship's been over the last couple days since we last connected, and introduce us to our very, very special guest today. So, hey, Lorena. I need to unmute you. There you go. Hi, Lorena.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. So, I think it has been like more than 2 weeks since the last video call we have. And from that day, we have been to Bocas del Toro in Panama, and then we went to San Andres in Colombia. After that, we went to Honduras, Bogotá, Honduras. We went also as well to Costa Maya and Cozumel, Mexico. And after that, we went to the Cayman Islands. We visited Georgetown in Cayman Brac, and Georgetown Grand Cayman, and also the Gem, which is the West End Cayman Brac. That's a very small island. And after that, we had days at sea, and we went to Jamaica, Ocho Rios. This time, supposedly it's in Port Antonio, but we had to switch over a little bit, but still in Jamaica. And we are now going to Yos Banday. Now we are at sea as of this moment. Tomorrow we arrive in Yos Banday in the British Virgin Islands, and the next day will be in Virgin Gorda. So for this cruise, we have a total of 316 guests and 213 crew on board. Sadly, this will be our last week for the 56 days expedition.
That's a incredible journey, Lorena.
Been enjoying it, and
let me interrupt you real quick. I'm sorry. Do you think you could switch back to the audio on the phone rather than the speaker? It sounds like you're pretty far away using the speaker.
okay, all right. Let me just.
Thank you. I think we'd be able to hear you just a little bit better, and we can pass the phone around when it's time.
Okay, how's that sound?
Much better, much better. Everybody, give me the okay if you can, if that's better. All right, thumbs up, Lorena, good job, thanks.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's much better, thank you.
So should I start over?
No,
Yeah, so those are the.
Go ahead.
Yes. So those are the places that we've been to, and once again, for this cruise, we have 316 guests and 213 crew on board for this voyage, for this cruise. And of course, the last day will be in St. Martin, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. And without further much ado, I'm very much excited to introduce you to our very special guests. Of course, they're part of our Windstar family, as they have been sailing with Windstar for many times, right, guys? So this is not just their first time. They've been sailing with us so many times. So let's start with, we have Sharon and.
I think, I'm sorry, let me interrupt real quick. I want to make it really clear that our special guests today are guests who have sailed on the entire 56-day circumnavigation. So every week, every step, every port along the way, they have been present and experienced.
Yes, so they have, you're correct, Tim. They have been with us on board the Windsurf since January 4. So that's the very beginning of our expedition. So
Great.
Right now, I'm going to give the phone to Paul to start. Hi, Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul from England, and we decided to travel around the Caribbean as it's nice and warm, and I meet so many different people with so many different ideas so that I can see how the rest of the world thinks about things. So we're having a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Sharon, also from England. That was my husband, Paul. We chose this cruise partly because it goes to so many places we've never been. and it's been really, really good. I think for me, the highlight has been the deck barbecues, bizarrely, which I didn't expect, but it's because we get the housekeepers and we get the hotel staff, everybody comes up on deck and we all join in together for line dancing, and it is a wonderful atmosphere. It really is like being part of a family. Okay, next.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm from New Jersey, and I'm on this cruise this time because it's going to islands I have not been to before, like Cancun and Panama, going through the Panama Canal. Was very interesting and different. I'm really an aficionado of the British Virgin Isles, and we're going there next, so I'm looking forward to that. I've been traveling with Windstar since 1993, so I know a little bit about the islands. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Peggy. I'm a Canadian from Kingsville, Ontario. I'm here with my husband. He's still having lunch. We chose to do this trip for 56 days. Number one, it's cold in Canada. We love the Caribbean, and the highlight has been snorkeling. I've enjoyed the snorkeling and all the animals, the monkeys, and the sloths, and the parrots, and the toucans. And it's been an experience I'll remember forever. And this is nice being part of this also. I'll have to look this up on the computer. Okay, on to my girlfriend.
Hi, my name is Helen. I'm from New Hampshire, and the reason we chose this cruise again was to leave the cold weather behind. The highlight of the tour is visiting some of the islands that you can't usually get to on cruise ships, being part of the crew family, because we've been on for nearly 56 days. They're like family, and I'm actually called Mummy Helen by a lot of the crew. So yes, we're having a great time, and it's lovely to be able to share it with you all.
Hi there. My name's Ted. I'm Helen's husband, and so why we chose the cruise? It was just so efficient to be able to get on a ship and stay in one room the whole time and be able to hit all these wonderful locations. In terms of favorites, that's kind of a tough one. But what we really liked was the very, very tiny islands. There's I think it's called it's considered a country, St. Vincent in the Grenadines. And then the Grenadines themselves are a bunch of tiny, tiny little islands. I think one of them has like a population of about 300 or so. And it was just wonderful wandering around there, going in the beaches, and the sea is always so warm, so clean. So if I had to have a highlight, I think it would be a toss-up between Meru and Beck. So I'll now pass you on to my next.
Yeah, we've become friends since during this voyage. Of course,
Yes.
we never met before. My name is Jerry. I live on Vancouver Island, which is off the west coast of Canada. And I'm here with my wife, who you'll speak to in a moment. We came on this cruise. This is, in fact, our first ever ocean cruise. So we haven't done many before, but we'd never been to the Caribbean. We've been to Cuba a long time ago, but other than that, we'd never been to the Caribbean. And this just seemed such an incredibly efficient way for people that couldn't make up their minds which islands to go to. Why don't you just go to the whole lot? And while you're at it, do the mainland as well. So it's been absolutely fantastic. I particularly like the outdoors, the natural world, the tropical rainforest. And the highlight for me was a day-long hike I did on Dominica, which only 2 other people on the entire ship did it. So it was the guide and the 3 of us, and it was just a fantastic day. And it threatened, and it's very green there because it rains a lot, and it started to pour with rain just as we got into the shelter at the end of the hike. So it was a perfect day. Thank you. Anyway, I'll hand you over to my wife.
Hello, I'm Andrea. I'm Jerry's wife from Vancouver Island on the Pacific. And the reason that I wanted to come on this voyage was because we love to follow explorers all around the world. And of course, the most extraordinary explorer probably of all time was Christopher Columbus. He was probably one of the bravest the most resilient, the most ambitious. And his voyages changed the course of history for the Americas, for the continent of Africa, because of the slave trade, which of course was the tragic part of the history, but also for the whole of Europe. And so for me to be able to visit and travel around the Caribbean in the wake of the Pinta and the Santa Maria and the Nina in windsurf, this beautiful sailing ship, has been the experience of a lifetime. The only thing I'd like is we've got all this, technology. It would be amazing if we had some time travel and Christopher Columbus could join us on this voyage and tell us what he thought about all the islands and places that he made known to the Western world. But of course, they were already lived in by people who had settled already in the Caribbean. So good luck with your studies and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, my name is John and I'm from Southern England. I concur totally with what Andrea has just said about the Caribbean. And the reason we came, my partner and I, was for the many ports that we were going to visit. Some we'd been before, quite a few we hadn't. My favorite one, excursion that is, was at Puerto Rico, going up the various jungle canals where we saw a lot of animals and birds. Very good indeed. And as Andrea said, all the best to you all with all your endeavors and what you wish for yourselves. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So there you go, guys. You've heard it from my family here of what they like and their favorites, and of course how they love the sailing here on windsurf. So yeah, back to you, Tim.
That's great, Lorena. Thank you all so much. I loved hearing all the different motivations for taking this epic journey around the Caribbean, from a historical perspective to a nature appreciation to exploration of all the different cultures that you touch upon when you circumnavigate the Caribbean. So many great reasons to get out and explore that fascinating part of the world. This is a good chance now for all of our classrooms who have been following this expedition for 8 weeks, and some aspect of the virtual exchange may have caught their attention. This will be your final chance to ask these wonderful experts who have experienced the whole thing firsthand any questions that you might have about any of the islands that we visited, any of the cultures we explored, or any aspect of onboard life aboard the windsurf, because as we previously mentioned, I think they probably know the ship better or equal to most of the people who work on the ship at this point. So this is what I'd like to do. How about we start with Miss Scott's class. Miss Scott, do you have a student who'd like to come up to the camera and ask a question?
Jaden. Come here, sweetie. Okay, go ahead and ask.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Are there foxes on the Caribbean islands? Like another animal?
Interesting. Foxes. Yeah, are there foxes, and what are some of the most notable wildlife that you've seen during the course of the expedition? Great question. Thank you.
Okay.
We saw raccoons, but I didn't see any foxes.
I didn't see a fox.
No.
I did see a possum.
No.
That's the closest.
Mostly here are sloths.
We saw a lot of monkeys.
Monkeys, yes, mostly monkeys. The bats, yes, we did the bat cave tour in Bocas del Toro. That was actually my highlight. My iguanas. Yes, we have iguanas, but definitely no foxes here.
No foxes. All right.
So far, we haven't seen any foxes.
That was a great.
Bengal tigers. They saw Bengal tigers. In the cage.
Okay, I was just going to specify it. It's probably not free roaming Bengal tiger. How great. And we haven't even touched on some of the amazing wildlife you'd see beneath the surface of the Caribbean. So much wildlife and diversity in the animal world. Thank you for that great question, Ms. Scott's class. Why don't we jump to Ms. James's class? I see a lot of really engaged faces there. Anybody want to ask a question? You're unmuted and go ahead.
What's the culture in the Caribbean like compared to America?
Yeah, is there, that's a great question. Is there any one culture or how do the cultures differ?
How are the cultures different in the Caribbean?
You know, the culture is so multicultural. There's African influence, there's Indian influence. There is, of course, the influence from Spain and from Holland, from the UK, from the British. And there's the French, there's a wonderful mixture and fusion. And you see it in the food, you see it in the music, in the dance. The dance here is phenomenal. If you ever got a chance to see the West Indians dance and hear them play the drums, absolutely phenomenal.
What's the answer? Do you have any other answers? All right, here we go, Paul.
Yeah, compared to America and also England, I think one of the biggest things to note in the Caribbean is there's virtually no racism. Everybody gets on with everybody else. They marry everybody else. It's probably like what it's going to be in England, America in 20, 30 years' time when people stop being silly. And it's just great to see everybody being given opportunities for their own abilities, not from what they look like or what their heritage is. It's a common heritage.
All right, anybody else who wants to answer that? Okay, so there you have it.
Great. Yeah, what a great question and some great answers. The short answer really sounds like there is no common culture. It's a big collection of all different sorts of traditions and historical backgrounds and heritages that all mix together in a really harmonious and unique way.
Yeah, that's correct.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I see Ms. Capose's class, I see that you are here. I'm going to unmute you for a moment and see if there's anybody who would like to ask a question. Is there anybody in New Jersey who wants to ask a question? I think they may be just getting settled. So why don't we come back to you, Ms. Capose. Ms. Scott's class, who do we have who wants to ask another question? Feel free.
Got it? Okay. Sana? Go ahead, sweetie. They can hear you.
Do they dress the same way as we dress?
Great. The question is about how people dress. Yeah, great question.
What's the answer to that?
How people dress.
How people dress? Well, obviously people dress here warmly. It's very hot here, so most people are on the beaches, so half naked.
Beautiful
So,
colors.
yeah, beautiful colors. They are very colorful. Especially in Jamaica, you've seen the colors for Jamaica. So a lot of variety, like mostly green, yellow, red, and even the houses. It's not just with their clothes, but also with their houses and the buildings as well.
And the sea is beautiful, lots of different shades of blue.
Yeah, so as if you heard that, that's the sea actually gives it. Yeah, temperature is 31 degrees. So
31 Fahrenheit or Celsius, right?
yeah.
Okay, so much warmer than New Jersey and Kentucky today.
Yes, definitely.
That was such a great question. As sort of a follow-up to that, do you see influences in the way people dress to their sort of colonial backgrounds? Is there any sort of Dutch or English or Spanish or African signs in clothing?
Well, I think what I saw, for me, I saw it especially in the Spanish areas, um, Central America. Yes, more Spanish, and because when we visit as well the places, they show their traditional dresses, but for the common people there, just the normal like shorts mostly. You can see it when they have a special event. Actually, that's when you can identify what kind of nationalities or history or traditions they have.
Great.
Yeah, the fiesta. Yeah.
One of the most gorgeous things is the hair of the people in the Caribbean who have been have descendants from Africa. Their hair is braided and absolutely gorgeous and done in all kinds of different ways. Incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, as sort of to fill in a gap from the beginning of this conversation, one of my colleagues just let me know that 31 degrees Celsius is 87 degrees Fahrenheit for our American-based audience. So if you're feeling cold today in New Jersey or Kentucky, imagine nice 87-degree day down in the Caribbean. All right, well, thank you for that great answer. I want to go back to Miss James's class. It looks like we have another question there. Hey, Miss James's class.
What are the sports like?
Good question. What sort of sports did you witness or see that were popular throughout the circumnavigation?
Any sports you've seen so far with the locals?
Water polo. Water polo.
Cricket?
Cricket's very big in Caribbean.
Yeah, they've seen cricket and water polo, is it?
Polo. Yeah.
Water polo. I've seen people doing kite surfing as well, mostly in the water sports.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know what our classroom's familiarity with the game of cricket is, but cricket is one of those things that if you're interested in learning more about a sport that many people in North America don't know a ton about, that's a good one to look into.
One of them was basketball.
Oh, basketball. Yeah, they've seen some locals in one of the places we visit, a basketball.
Basketball, yeah. All right, so some things the same, some things a little bit different. All right, I'm going to give Ms. Capozzi's class another unmute and see if we've got a question from New Jersey. Anybody in New Jersey want to ask a question? All right, I think they're gonna listen for now. Fantastic. Well, why don't we've got time for probably one more question from both Ms. Scott and Ms. James's class. So if Ms. James's class, you want to think about your last question, I'll go to Ms. Scott's class first, and you can ask your final question.
We want to say hi to Miss James's class at East Carter Middle School, and we are actually in the same city. We are at East Carter Middle School. So hi, Miss James's class. Okay, Dustin has a question.
Okay. What is the main language in the Caribbean islands?
Fantastic question. Yeah,
Main
what languages have you heard spoken?
Well,
It's English and Spanish.
English, Spanish, French, and Creole.
yes.
And papiamento too.
That's correct.
Papiamento. It's a mixture of different languages.
But so far, for to all the places that we've visited, people know English, so it's very easy to go around, and also the guides, of course, because here on board we are mostly U.S. and Canadian and other nationalities. All are English speakers. So yeah.
And in terms of on the ship, are those the same languages that are spoken, or are there other languages that you hear around the deck of windsurf on any given day?
Here on board, you sometimes hear Tagalog or Filipino language and Indonesians, and also Croatians. We have Croatians on board. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, that was a great question, Ms. Scott's class. Thank you for that. I'm going to turn us over to Ms. James's class and give you a chance to ask your final question of our guests.
What was your favorite place while down there?
All right, we've got
Favorite place.
another chance to identify another favorite place. So if you have one more that you want, that was a real highlight of your journey, we'd love to hear about it.
We really like I really like the island of St. Lucia.
Island of St. Lucia.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody?
I like Nevis.
All right.
And Nevis is famous because Alexander Hamilton, one of your founding fathers, was born on Nevis, and he's on every $10 US bill. So we went to his house, and he left there when he was 9 years old, and then he became one of the most important figures in your history. So education, that's the key. Sticking with school. Do your homework.
Made especially famous recently.
Okay, so Princess Margaret Beach on Beckett.
Oh yes, indeed.
very
Very beautiful.
special.
Meru Beach Barbecue.
I enjoyed transiting the Panama Canal.
Perfect. Yes, that's
That
a
was
very
very
good one too.
interesting.
Very good.
I like them all. I like them all because you can do things on them that cost no money. You can go shelling, you can go looking for angel tears, pieces of glass that have gone through the process of sand and water. You can find driftwood, you can find coral, and all of that's free. I love free.
And for you
I think I
guys?
like St. Lucia best. The people there are just so warm and friendly. As soon as you step off the boat, you feel like you've come home. Really nice.
How about you, Paul?
I think probably the best trip we went on was in the Bat Cave.
Yes,
that's-
mine too.
Yes, that was Colombia.
In Bocas del Toro, Panama.
Yeah,
Yes.
Panama was in Panama. Yeah, because the bats there were flying around our head, probably so close to 10,000 bats.
Yes,
And we had
indeed.
to swim through the Bat Cave.
Mhm.
So that was proper adventure.
Yes, indeed for me as well. So same with Paul. We did the tour same time. So yeah, that was a highlight for me because it was like a very unique experience. So you get to swim in the bat cave inside, very dark.
What a great diversity of experiences, very indicative of the diversity of the Caribbean. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of our circumnavigation guests for joining us today, taking time out of their schedule today to join us and share their experiences with classrooms. We have a bunch of classrooms who are following us on YouTube Live right now, and a bunch of classrooms that will be also watching this recording when they can in their classrooms. So one of the last things we do before we sign off is demute all of our classrooms and give them a chance to give sort of a goodbye and a thank you to our special guests. And before we do that, I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of our classrooms for joining the Reach the World Explorer program this February and for the last 8 weeks, and for following this really exciting expedition. Thank you to all of our special staff guests who joined us from Windsurf, and Lorena, especially thank you to you. You've been an amazing host. This has been a wonderful expedition, and I've learned so much, and I know that our students have too. So, as a final farewell, let me demute all of our classrooms, and let's all say goodbye and thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Safe travels back to your homes.